So today on the bench, I'm really excited because we've got the Traxxas Sledge. This looks like it's going to be a really awesome truck. I picked this thing up at Tiny Adventures RC. I'm going to leave a link to their website down in the description. If you want to pick one of these up, definitely take a look there. Today we're going to be taking a close look at this truck, see what makes it tick, take a look inside, compare it to some Arrma stuff, and see if maybe it's going to be that Kraton killer that I'm sure Traxxas hopes it is. Before we take a look at the truck, let me show you what comes in the box with it. First thing we get in the box is the transmitter. This is the standard Traxxas TQI transmitter that they've been shipping with all their trucks for many years. If you're familiar with this, then you know what it is. If not, this is a pretty good transmitter. They actually allow you to connect it to multiple different receivers. It's got a ton of programming. The programming is all a lot easier to do if you get the Bluetooth module that can go in here. You can program it via these buttons up top, but it's kind of a pain. Other than that, it's a good RTR remote, probably one of the better ones in the industry. Next thing we have here is a packet of tools. You get a few Allen wrenches and the wheel nut wrench. This wheel nut wrench is actually redesigned here. You can see it's got bigger handles on it, which is nice because the old one had kind of short handles and could be hard to get nuts on and off, so this should be helpful for that. You get some stickers. You get a Traxxas warranty guide, which is pretty thick. You get some more stickers here with some numbers and some stickers that look like they go on the sides of the spoiler. That's pretty neat. Traxxas registration, and then a nice big color Traxxas manual. Traxxas always does really well with their manuals, so it's definitely worth taking a look through here to learn more about the model. You also get a foam battery pad, and you get an adapter if you want to run one battery with their standard 2 battery setup on their ESC. That's what comes in the box. Let's take a closer look at the truck. So here's the Traxxas Sledge in all its glory. I think it's a fine looking truck. To be honest with you, I think the body is a little generic looking. It doesn't really inspire anything, but it looks fine. This body has got these nice underbody clips right here that you pull to the side and lift up and then push forward. They've actually switched around this front clip to where it slides in from the front instead of the rear now. So this should really help prevent the body from popping off like it does on pretty much every other truck that takes this kind of body clip system. You can see here it's got the 2 little push clips in the back. These should hold up okay. They feel maybe a little flimsy, so I would think maybe over time these could break, but this replacement part will probably be pretty cheap. You can also see they've got a full cage in here. Pretty much the only part of this body that's not supported by the cage is going to be the front here. And since this truck only has a little bit of a front bumper and it sits behind this body, this is probably part of the body that's going to get damaged very quickly. I'm not sure why Traxxas didn't include a bumper that goes in front here. It seems like a lot of these truggies don't have them, but if you're going to be bashing and that's what this truck is made for, you would think there should be a front bumper. There isn't, but I'm sure the aftermarket will address that quickly enough. Body feels pretty good. It's not quite as thick as some other bodies I've felt recently, but it's a Traxxas body. It should be just fine. I'm probably going to be reinforcing this one at least in the front and on the sides just to help it last a little bit longer. Taking the body off, we get a first look at the truck. It looks very well made. I would say typical modern Traxxas quality. They spend a lot of time on their molds and getting everything just right as far as fit and finish is concerned, so they always look really good. There's a lot of information online available about this truck, so I'm not going to get too deep into it, but I do want to point out a few things. First, Traxxas is using non-adjustable links on the front and rear. I think this is a great move. For a basher truck, you don't need adjustable links, and when you have an adjustable link, you have that steel piece in the middle, and that steel piece has no flex to it. So in a crash, the only part that can flex is going to be the outside 2 ends. That means eventually something's either going to bend or break. This is a much better solution. And I know some people are going to say it was just a cost-saving measure by Traxxas, and that may be true as well, but in my opinion, it's a better way to go. You've got your VXL6S system in here. This is a 2000 kV motor. And of course, in typical Traxxas fashion, you have their "we don't care about the aftermarket" battery tray system. Basically, they make these battery trays for their batteries and they don't really care about anyone else's. Now, there are other batteries that'll fit in here, but the selection's pretty limited. In the next video, I'm gonna be showing you guys how to fix this problem and run just about any battery you want. So if you're interested in finding out about that, be sure to be subscribed because that's gonna be coming up really soon. We've got the new 2275 all metal gear Traxxas servo. It's supposed to have a lot of power and speed, but I'm skeptical about that. Pretty much all RTR servos, in my experience, haven't been very good. Maybe this will be different and surprise us. We're gonna find out in the running video, which will be coming up soon as well. Let's take a look at these tires. These are 6.7-inch diameter Traxxas Sledgehammer tires, and they look pretty decent. One of the things that Traxxas has said is that they have fixed their gluing issues. A lot of times in the past, Traxxas tires, including all of their Sledgehammer tires that I've tried, have come unglued pretty easily. You can see on this tire there is an excess of glue, so hopefully they have fixed that problem. I have run several other versions of these tires, including on my X-Max, the Max, and my Rustler, and they've actually done pretty well. I'm going to be venting these tires and sealing the inside holes before I even run these. I'll put a link in the description to the best procedure I've found for venting these tires. Overall, the carcass feels pretty good. It's a little thin, as all Traxxas tires are, so I expect these to hold up reasonably well as long as you aren't ballooning them too heavily. Taking a closer look at the suspension, in the front we have a kingpin style suspension. They went ahead and decided not to do the pillow ball style like a lot of other truggies do. They've got some captured pins here, which is really nice. I know they've got metal inserts here on the top and bottom, which should help with longevity as well. On the back, the suspension geometry is pretty much what you'd expect. No surprises here. They do have these nice mud guards, which are really nice to have, and it's good to see those coming from the factory. Flipping this over, we've got a 3-point-something millimeter chassis plate here. It's only 6061 aluminum, but they have done quite a bit of strengthening here. You can see how they've stamped some features in here. All of these features are designed to improve strength, and they really do that job well. We've got a little skid plate in the front, a little skid plate in the back. Again, I can't wait for someone to come out with a front bumper for this. I think it's going to be something that people are really going to want. Other than that, not too much to talk about on the bottom. I really like the blue of this, but of course this is going to get torn up pretty quickly with driving. The wing is a wing. It's hanging out the back, it's exposed. I expect it to get torn up fairly quickly, but we'll see. All right, let's dive inside. I'm gonna pull the rear and center differentials out. We'll see how they look, how the gears look on them, how much fluid's in them, and compare them to an Arrma EXB differential as well. So here we have the center and rear differentials. Before we take a look at those, let's take a look at what it took to get them out. Here's the center differential pile. This is probably the easiest to remove center differential of any truck that I've ever had, only requiring 6 screws, which are very easy to get to. Here's the rear differential pile. Now, I'm not entirely sure all of this was necessary. I may not have needed to take the rear bumper off, but even if I did, it's still a pretty typical pile that you would expect for taking a rear differential out of one of these style of trucks. So no surprises here, very easy to do. Looking at these differentials, you can see they're fairly beefy. This is a new diff case style for Traxxas. I haven't seen this exact design before. I expect it to look pretty typical inside though. We've got 20 million in the center differential, and this one feels very tight. I'm not gonna bother taking this apart just because it feels like there's plenty of fluid in here. We've got one of their sintered steel spur gears. This should hold up just fine to 6S power, but I'm sure there'll be upgrades coming down the road as well. Here's the rear differential. Now in Traxxas's marketing material, they make a big point of comparing it to an Arrma rear differential, and as you can see, the gear is quite a bit bigger than the Arrma gear. Now they can be a bit misleading because this is a sintered steel part, and at least in the case of this EXB gear, this is a CNC machined billet part, so this is going to be inherently stronger. That being said, that is a much bigger gear, and it really should be pretty strong. I did notice that on my rear differential, I do not have the O-rings that are supposed to come in here. A lot of people haven't been getting those, and if you don't have these O-rings, it can cause the dog bones to walk back and forth and can cause them to pop out or strip cups. So you definitely want to check to see if you have these O-rings that go in these cups, and if you don't, either get them from Traxxas or go to the store and just buy some O-rings that can go in here. Well, that's the differentials. I think they look fine for what they are. We'll have to see how they hold up long term, but they appear to be pretty strong. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I enjoyed taking a look at it with you. I think it's going to be a pretty good truck. I can't wait to get out and bash it, but like I said, first we're going to fix that proprietary battery tray problem. That's going to be in the next video, so if you're interested in seeing that, be sure to subscribe, hit the bell to get notified, and if you have any questions or comments, put them down in the comments, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.